There have been a lot of cases where Oscar-nominated movies ends up being overhyped or overrated. And that is also the case with this movie where Sandra Hüller was nominated for a role in this movie as Sandra Hüller, called Anatomy of a Fall. Sadly, it is not a good movie, and it reminds me of that other bad French movie, Irreversible, from 2002. That's why I'm making the claim today that this is the second worst French movie ever made. The movie is this dead, boring crime thriller movie with a classic play where someone, the lead character in this case, is framed for a murder she most likely didn't commit. Although we never know for sure, but we will get back to that. The movie itself is never tense enough, and it is all about Sandra that goes into defense mode all the time during his movie, making Samuel to be the bad guy in the relationship as opposed to her. The movie then is all about long drawn investigations, where it is all about making Daniel break, as it seems, by the female investigator or support person that wants him to go against her mom. At least that's what it feels like during the beginning. There's really nothing too special about this movie, as you have seen this type of movie 1,000 times before, also told the same way. It is then very strange that it has such a high rating, but it has to be this new emotional thing people want these days. As this movie, more than most, certainly shows and portrays a lot of emotion. All its reenactments are also quite silly, and then practicing for what to say before going into the court works so much better in the Judge movie from 2014. Although slightly more exaggerated from Robert Downey Jr., but at the same time, it actually has that hard spark that this movie lacks, just solidifying the claim that this is the second worst French movie ever made. Furthermore, the movie is having on the dialogue basically 100% more of a low drama, and may try to work experimental with the music, but of course it is mostly the same song even repeated in the court during Sandra's testimony, suggesting that this movie lacks creativity. Because while a music thing may make it look different than other movies, it is a half-hearted play at best, combined with the mood of this movie, where it becomes all about desecrating the main character and the witness, which was at their house during having music to do an interview. Now seeing that part of the story is made out to be a lesbian or bisexual, suggesting their interaction and meeting was of a sexual nature, claiming the childishness of this movie, where it becomes all about analyzing the 50 Cent song played in the movie, making this song into something bigger, which is where the court case takes a left turn, making it into the most ridiculous, laughable, and fictional court case ever seen in a movie. Sure, it is a kangaroo court just like in Oppenheimer, but at least there they managed to make it entertaining. Here, however, it is nothing entertaining, with the case just failing or falling apart based on Daniel's testimony. Then again, during this court case, it may be creative with all the demonstrations into what could have happened and what could not have happened. Basically, it is just word against word, and they drag the same thing over and over during this movie, with a supposed suicide attempt and the debate with the doctor, which of course never helps the entertainment in this movie, because there's hardly any new information we have not seen before. And not a moment that makes this movie a very boring movie, and also makes it an easy target for the title the second worst French movie ever made. It's in the second part where you get down to around about the last hour of the movie, where it is all about this tape recording, as Samuel has recorded a very dramatic conversation. Here it becomes all about this quarrel that fills out some of the details you have been wondering about, and gives us an insight to the problem and the toxic relation between Samuel and Sandra. This is basically where sparks start to fly, and perhaps it would have been better if the movie actually started on those seats, to give more context to reel us in earlier in this movie, because it is really downright hard to stay invested in the movie. But nevertheless, in this case, Sandra is the one that lashes out as the hysterical woman in the conversation that quite frankly shows herself as the monster she didn't claim to be earlier in the movie. Once again, right there, giving the jury an angle to make her out as a murderer, although she might not have done it. Once again, you see her go full defense mode against the claim of the childish court character and starts reading from her books. And then once again goes on a rampage to desecrate her, claiming that she is the bad guy, taking the side of Samuel that apparently was a man fighting to get his life back, and start writing again. But these moments shows the female perspective in this movie, and it surely does not work at all, not exactly making you stay glued to the screen and interested. It rather ties you right down to the bone. Although I'm making this out to be the second worst French movie ever made, it does not mean I can't throw out a few positives. Positive number one, that it has an open ending. We really didn't know what actually happened, which is open to interpretation, although, of course, in Daniel's testimony, it seems like the father committed suicide because he was unhappy. The second positive is the somewhat heated argument between Daniel and this woman that acts as his legal counsel right at the tail end of this movie and tries to help him with the testimony. Other than that, it is just a lifeless, flat movie that is not tense at all, which feels way more like a drama movie than a thriller movie. But anyways, guys, I did enjoy it, and I do believe it is a fitting description to call it the second worst French movie ever made. And I will give it a 4 out of 10.